Nampak screen? Okay, look at a few example question. Ni form 4 kan? Okay, which group are you guys in? Group A1, A2, B1, B2, C1, C2?
A1.
A1?
Yeah.
Okay. So, saya boleh pergi very quickly lah to the question. Okay, kita tengok questions tu. Kejap, hold on. Tengok ni tadi. The force calculator. Okay, ni nanti dah length and time. This is an example question. Number 1, the diagram shows an enlarged drawing of the end of a meter rule. It is being used to measure the length of a small feather. What is the length of the feather? Very easy question. So I think everybody can answer this one. Betul? No problem kan? Okay. What about? Okay, kita tengok. Okay, what's the answer? Number 1?
A.
Right. So number 2, a student wishes to find the volume of a small irregular shaped stone. A ruler and measuring cylinder containing some water are available. Which apparatus is needed? So this is how the way the question asks. Okay, so what's the answer?
B.
Agree, everyone? Okay. The measuring cylinder only. Is it true? Do we need a ruler?
Yes.
We don't.
Okay.
Do we need a ruler?
No.
No, because it's already a measuring instrument kan. So ada scale dekat tepi tu ya. So very easy. So hopefully kan bila tengok soalan ni very easy so jadi macam physics can be, you can score physics A* tu insyaAllah no problem. Everybody in this group akan boleh dapat A*, no problem Okay, number 3. The diagram shows a ball hanging on a string. The ball swings from point W to point Z and back to point W. Which statement about the ball is correct? Okay, so ini dah masuk dalam subtopic energy. Nanti kita tengok balik. Okay, now number 4, a measuring cylinder is used to measure the volume of a quantity of water. Which measuring technique would not improve the accuracy of the measurement? So when you do measurement, you should know to take. We have to pay attention about the accuracy, and we want the answer to be as accurate as possible. So, what do you think the answer for number 4? Which measuring technique will not improve? Making sure the measuring cylinder is vertical. Is that important?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah kan? So you make sure you ada yang level punya surface. Kalau yang dia bumpy macam ni, of course lah bacaan kita tak berapa tepat. Okay. A. B. Making sure that the water surface is at eye level. Is that important?
Yes.
Of course, kan? Sebab itu we are avoiding what kind of error?
Parallax.
Yes, parallax error. Okay, and then reading the top of the water meniscus. Water. Do you know about meniscus? What is meniscus? So if this is the reading, the scale. So this is the level of water. So meniscus tu is which part? So how do you read this? Is it at position A or at position B? Or you
B.
see from the top? So you
Okay.
must read from
Position
B.
B.
Yeah, right. So the answer is, okay, so this one is incorrect. Okay, so the answer should be C, not improving. Using the smallest measuring cylinder available that will contain all the water. What does this mean? That means this one, we are increasing. Kita menambahkan apa? Increasing sensitivity of the instrument. Okay, number 5. The diagram shows 4 identical spheres placed between 2 wooden blocks on a ruler. Okay, this is another easy question. You just minus off the value, these two values. Okay, right. So I'm just showing you a few examples. Jadi that's how the questions will be asked, and this is in MCQ lah, multiple choice question. Dalam paper 4 pun boleh ditanya. Yeah. Diagram shows a measuring instrument. Which quantity is this instrument used to measure? So that's
B.
the volume. Alright. Okay, very easy. Ni untuk kira. Tengok, this is a measure water displacement method. Alright, I think that's it. Okay, untuk topik ni. Not that difficult. Cuma sebabkan bila student pandai, dia punya masalah ialah dia tak teliti untuk soalan-soalan yang very easy. Soalan-soalan susah dia boleh jawab. Tapi soalan-soalan yang senang-senang ni selalu ada careless mistakes. Okay. Now, kita continue. Oh, sebenarnya saya nak, okay, tak apa. Nak cari soalan yang... Bawa kat belakang. Okay, sorry. Okay, tadi kita dah tengok graph. So, kita tengok dulu contoh soalan graph. Okay, motion, multiple choice question. Okay, right. Kita tengok soalan sambil-sambil recap. Number 1, a train begins a journey from a station and travel. Saya dah unmute kan?
Ya.
Dah unmute dah.
What is the average speed of the train? So kat sini dia guna soalan average speed. So what is average speed? Tadi formula dia. Average speed is total length, distance over total
Time.
time. Okay, so this one is very direct question. Dia tak adalah cerita panjang-panjang. Dia just bagi direct. So, what's your answer? Or anybody wants to show ataupun to explain macam what is the working? Okay, so looking at the formula, it's very easy. Cuma you kena be careful dekat mana?
Time.
Conversion.
Unit.
Right? Unit here. Right? Okay, so what's the answer? Have you got the answer?
B.
So B. Semua setuju dapat B? Ada yang nak kita discuss ataupun semua orang dah dapat? Okay, you tengok ya. Right, total distance is 60. Okay, kita buatlah average speed equals to total distance 60 kilo. So what's kilo? 10 to the power of?
100.
Tak apa, saya buat macam ni dulu So mula-mula okay, you should write like this. Okay, so that you see in a time of 20 minutes. Okay, but the units are all in seconds. Jadi kat sini 20 minutes, you tulislah minute. You know how do you change kilo tu? So that's kilo is prefix. It's the prefix. Kalau you ada calculator physics, you boleh guna teruslah. Kalau you tak ada, you convert dulu. Okay. You should know about prefix. Kena hafal daripada sekarang. Apa dia? Tera, giga, mega, kilo, desi, senti, mili, micro, nano, pico. So that's not that difficult. Tera represents 10 to the power of 12. So kilo represents 10 to the power of 3. So mega is the symbol for 10 to the power of 6. Giga is 10 to the power of 9. 3, 6, 9, 12. Nampak? Okay, lepas tu mili. It's negative 3. Negative 6. 3, 6, 9, 12 juga. Desi and senti sahaja yang dia lain sikit. Dia tak ikut trend. Okay, so now meter is meter. It's just a unit. Prefix dia kita dah ubah. 20 minute to second. Alright. So do you have calculator? So is it B? So berapa?
$50.
50. Nampak dia hampir sama dengan jawapan. Dia macam mirip-mirip je jawapan dia. Ini 5.0. Ini 50. So be careful. Ini sahajalah kadang-kadang. Ya, nampak tak? You tahu it's an easy question but you are trapped. Ni. Okay. Number 2, 2 runners take part in a race. Okay. Ini you boleh take note If you have paper and pen, you boleh buatlah notes. How do you convert this? Kalau tak nanti saya boleh bagi ni. Okay, the graph shows how the speed of each runner changes with time. So we have 2 runners. What does the graph show about the runners at time t? Okay. Ini ada two things that you need to two things you have to pay attention here. So first, you need to know how to read graph. Then, awak kena faham lah graph tu apa ya. And this is a speed time graph. So what does that mean? At time t, what do you see? What do you observe? Both of the graphs, kita ada 2 graphs ni, graph runner 2, graph runner 1. So we have, okay, at time t, the 2 graphs meet. Okay, apa maksud dia? When they meet, D2 refers to the graph. When the 2 lines meet, so what's the value here? Kita dapat sama value tu kan? Okay, so what's the answer? Both runners are moving. Yes. Kalau A, both runners are moving with the same speed. Okay, macam betul lah, same speed. So this is a graph of speed. So they are having speed of X. So A. So tak payah fikir yang lain-lain tu. Runner 1 has 0 acceleration. Macam mana nak kan? Zero acceleration. Okay, now B. Macam mana? How do you confirm B is wrong? Okay, what do you need to know about graph? What about the graph? So tadi you tengok graph. Okay, kita ada types of graph. Now, just now we have graph of speed. Speed is ni symbol dia V. So, runner 1 tadi, the graph is this one. Macam tu, menaik. So, kalau menaik, ada gradient. Bila ada gradient, maksudnya apa? What is the gradient of V? Graph of V bagi kita. Dia bagi nilai acceleration. Do you know that? Okay, do you know? Okay, untuk bila graph, okay, first you observe the gradient. Dia ada gradient. Okay, so gradient ni bagi kita nilai acceleration. Why? Kenapa? Okay, so how do you calculate gradient, students? Gradient equals to y2 minus y1. Kalau saya suka buat change lah. Sebab change tu maksudnya perubahan lah kan. Okay, tak apa. And then divide over x2 minus x1. Betul tak? Now, what is at our y-axis? V kan? What's V? V is the speed ataupun the velocity. So V to V2 and Y1 tu tak kisahlah kalau this is V2, ini akan jadi U lah kan, dia punya initial speed. Okay, over ada 2 time kan, ada perubahan time. So tengok balik, what is this formula? V minus U over T, that is a formula. Formula of what?
Acceleration.
Acceleration. So, kita tahu from there, if we have graph of velocity against time, the gradient gives us acceleration. Itu adalah konsep that you need to understand. Awak akan guna sampai form 5. Okay, next. If the graph straight line like this, is the object not moving? Is the object stationary? Lalu student salah faham. Dia ingat straight line macam ni. Oh, I know the object is not moving. That's wrong. Because the graph that we have is graph of velocity. And what happened to the object? The object is moving. Is it moving? Yes, it is moving. Tapi how do you describe the motion? It is moving with a
Uniform speed.
yes, constant velocity, uniform speed ataupun mana-mana lah, depends on the question. So kalau yang ni positive acceleration and then this one, what happened to the velocities? Velocity dia is dropping, decreasing. So kita tahu when we have change of velocity and the velocity decreasing, so that is deceleration. Alright? Okay. One more thing. What is another physical quantity you can get from a graph of V against time graph? Okay, so kita tahu that if we have velocity time graph, kita boleh dapatkan acceleration. We can describe the motion, accelerate, constant velocity, decelerate. And one more thing, the distance. Yes. So area under the graph. So where is the area under the graph? If we are talking about the graph, the red line, so that's the graph. Jadi all the area, so the area under the graph, the whole thing, okay, the area tu gives you the distance ataupun the displacement. If we are talking about the line blue tu, so look at the shape. So what shape do we have? Triangle shape. So that triangle shape tu, you boleh calculate lah untuk dapatkan dia punya acceleration. Okay. Now, we have just discussed about the velocity against time graph and then you can also get graph of displacement against time. Okay, dia tak sama tapi dia punya konsep tu boleh digunakan. Okay, so if you have displacement against time graph, bila ada straight line macam ni pun maksudnya ada gradient. Ini pun ada gradient. You can calculate the gradient. So, tengok. Kalau this one for the velocity against time graph, what about this one? Okay, the gradient. Okay, the gradient pertama jugalah. Y2 minus Y1 over X2 over X1. What is your Y axis? Y axis kita ada displacement S2 minus S1 over T2 over T1. So macam change segitiga tu change. So S over T tu formula apa?
Distance.
S2 distance. Tapi S over T.
Speed.
Speed. Jadi ini adalah speed. So what is the conclusion? If we have this kind of graph, what is this kind of graph? Displacement against time graph ataupun distance against time graph. The gradient gives you speed. Jadi kalau soalan tanya describe the motion from ni untuk graph yang merah ni 0 second to 4. So how do you describe? So you kata the object is moving with a constant speed. Kalau ni distance graph. What about at 4 to 4 to 7 seconds? The object is stationary. Untuk yang ni betul. The object is not moving, it's stationary. Sebab apa? The distance doesn't change. It stays at 8 meters. Alright, so that's about graph. Okay, so now tengok sini number 3. The graph shows how the speed of a van changes with time for part of its journey. In which labeled section is the van decelerating? So what's your answer, students? B, kan? So right away you tahu. Jadi less than I think less than 20 seconds you boleh answer. Sebab apa? Kita tahu the concept. Okay, if I ask you to describe describe the motion at A. The object is
constant speed.
Yeah, moving with a constant speed. Okay. Where is the object accelerating? At region yang tak ada label ni. Ataupun D. Okay. Okay. Right. A large stone is dropped from a bridge into a river and resistance can be ignored. Which row describes the acceleration and the speed of the stone as it falls? So now kita dah masuk dalam topik free fall. So kalau free fall, what is the meaning of free fall? Okay. So free fall, downward acceleration. Maksudnya any object that is falling, it is moving downward, betul? And then you kena tahu that is caused by gravity. And we call it free fall. Kenapa we call it free fall? What is so free tu? Apa yang free tu? The falling is free. Apa maksud dia? Okay, maksudnya the object is falling due to gravity only. Okay, what is gravity? Due to the gravitational force only. That is your answer if question asked. What is the meaning of free fall? Free fall is the object is falling due to the gravitational force only. Now, kita ada dua situasi. Kita duduk dalam dunia reality, we always have resistance. Even diri kita sendiri pun ada resistance kan. Macam tu complicatednya kita kan. Tapi kalau objek also kita ada air resistance, ada drag, ada apa lagi friction of the surface Jadi kalau objek yang dekat udara dia jatuh, maksud ada resistance tak? Ada. What is the resistance? Air resistance. So objects slows down. Now, if air resistance equal to gravitational force, so air resistance is a force. Jadi kalau force ni sama dengan force ni tu apa? Air resistance is a force. If air resistance equal to the value of gravitational force, we say the object is at terminal velocity. What is the meaning in terminal velocity? Okay. Jadi ni tengok example very popular example. Soalan pun banyak tanya tentang ni lah. Gambar dia ekstrim sikit lah. Jadi kat sini ada orang dia tengah flying, okay, ataupun dia nak buat apa tu, parachute ni. Lepas tu release, when is this release, of course lah orang tu akan jatuh. At the point of release, the skydiver is not moving yet, so there is no air resistance, not yet. But as the skydiver begins to fall, velocity increases. Kenapa? Apa maksud velocity increases? Tengok sini graph. So you bayangkan situasi, you bayangkan graph, you fahamkan konsep. Okay, so maksud velocity increases ni this one, betul? Hello?
Yes.
Betul.
Baru cakap dah terkeluar kan? Ingatkan you all memang tak nak respon. Rupanya dah terkeluar. Okay, do you see my screen?
No.
No, teacher.
Kita saya cuba lagi. Share screen, start broadcast. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Sekarang?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Nah, soalan saya tadi, tak mana saya terhilang kan? Jadi kan, apa? Tengok ni, okay, if you look at this one, if you read the statement atau the facts, velocity increases. Jadi velocity increases, this is the graph. Jadi what can you say? How do you describe the motion of that skydiver tu? If the velocity increases, what does that mean? He is
Constant escapes.
He is accelerating. Okay, good. Jadi when he is accelerating, jadi kat sini maksudnya dia pun ada pecutan ke bawah. So what's the value of acceleration? G. G tu nilai dia 10 lah. Pecutan dia, nilai dia. Okay. So at this point ni you kena tahu this one, about the forces. Maksudnya W tu adalah the weight. Okay, because the weight is greater than the air resistance. That's why he is falling. Now, air resistance is that. Jadi, sampai satu tahap, eventually the skydiver reaches the speed at which air resistance equal to terminal velocity. Air resistance equals to the weight. Sorry. Drag equals to the weight. So when drag equals to the weight, kita kata the skydiver reach terminal velocity. Apa maksud terminal velocity? Terminal velocity maksudnya he is moving with a constant velocity. Look. Okay, and dia no longer accelerating. Kenapa macam ni? Bukankah kat dunia ni memang ada gravitational force? Kenapa dia tak accelerating? Sebab kita ada drag yang besar. Drag tu adalah air resistance. Now, bila dia on dia punya parachute, what happen when the parachute opens? Air resistance even more, kan? Becomes greater. So, dia bergerak ke bawah, tapi dia decelerating. Velocity decreases. And then dia back to terminal velocity. Okay, jadi a few terms that we discuss a few terms. So, first, not moving, V0, and then V higher, increasing, and then V constant, terminal, and then decelerating means V decreasing, and then again terminal velocity. Yeah. Jadi sebenarnya you can draw a graph that explains ataupun a graph that describe the motion. So this is the graph. Okay. So at the first point tu, he is accelerating. Ya, ni dia. V increases. V increases. 10, 20, 30, 40. And then V starts to decreases before it reaching the terminal speed. And then bila buka je parachute, ada rapid drop in the velocity. Yeah, velocity decreases until the drag is equal to the weight, so becomes steady speed. Sampailah betul-betul dia, kalau kat sini kan, ni ground, dah sampai kat sini parachute tu, okay, dia masih lagi velocity berkurang, top, terus zero. Nampak tak kat sini straight line ni? Faham? Straight line. Sebab dia touch the ground, terus zero. Okay, right? So that's about downward acceleration ataupun motion, ya. So that's about motion. So ada banyak. Okay, when we talk about air resistance also ataupun free fall, look at these two diagrams. So what's the difference between these two diagrams? Satu diagram with air resistance present, ni no air resistance. Okay, so hello, you still there? Okay, so kalau kita ada dua benda, kita ada two objects dekat sini, ada ball bearing and feather. So with air resistance, okay, kita tengok the feather falls down at a later time. Okay, no air resistance. With the no air resistance, kita tengok both of them reaches the ground at the same time. Pernah buat tak eksperimen ni? Tak boleh, you tak boleh buat eksperimen ni. Kenapa? It's kind of difficult. Boleh lah awak nak buat tapi tak nampak sangat. Susah nak sediakan ruang ataupun bilik yang vacuum. Boleh ke? Possible kan? Tapi saya nak tunjuk lah. Okay, subhanallah. Tapi maybe you all dah tengok dah video tu kan. Tapi nampak tak tadi with air resistance dengan without air resistance betul-betul totally different dia punya result. Okay, kenapa macam tu? Sebab the feather has larger surface area dan dia berbulu-bulu kat sana sini tu ada very high air resistance. That's why it takes longer time. Okay, tapi when we remove all the air, kita nampak dia tak kisah regardless of the area, dia punya size, dia punya mass, dia fall freely. Masa tu. So, jadi eksperimen ni susah nak buat. Kita tak boleh berada kat bilik tu. Kalau kita tak boleh kat bilik tu, kita pun tak dapat oksigen kan. Sebab vacuum. Dan bilik tu terlalu besar. Jadi. Okay. So you have seen that one. Okay. And then you should know the difference between speed and velocity. When do we call a physics quantity speed? Bila kita panggil the velocity. Speed is a scalar quantity. Velocity is a vector quantity. What is the meaning of vector quantity? Vector quantity means it has magnitude and direction. scalar, dia ada magnitude sahaja. So what is magnitude? Magnitude is value. Okay, and then kita ada mass and weight. Okay, and then you should know the difference between mass and weight. Kena tahu. Adakah sama mass and weight? No. Mass is how much matter an object contains. Dalam badan kita ni ada apa? Lemak, ada air, ada sel, ada apa macam-macam lah. So, itulah yang juga kita bawa pergi ke, kalau kita pergi outer space. Kalau awak jadi astronaut tu semua. Semua kita bawa, lemak yang kita ada tu semua, dia ada je. But weight is depending on the gravitational force ataupun the gravitational acceleration tu. If you are at the moon, so your weight will be lesser. Sebab moon ada gravitational acceleration 1/6 of the value of the earth. These are the things that you need to know. And weight, the formula is mass times gravitational acceleration. You take G. Untuk IGCSE, kita ambil G as 10 Newton per kg. Ya. Kalau untuk apa tu dekat untuk SPM lainlah, kita ambil 9.81. Right. So what is mass? Mass is the property that resists change in motion. Right. Okay, nanti kita tengok inertia. So sebenarnya untuk IGCSE, chapter 1 is very big. Banyak sangat sampai ke pressure masih lagi chapter 1. Tapi tak apa, kita tengok soalan. Alright, a large stone is dropped from a bridge into a river and resistance can be ignored. Which row describes the acceleration and the speed of the stone as it falls? Acceleration of the stone. Okay, fahamkan balik. A large stone is dropped from a bridge. Okay, tak apalah. Bridge tak payah lukis lah, tak penting. Into a river. And resistance tu tak ada dah. Kita ignore je terus. Which row describes the acceleration? Now, what happened? Is acceleration constant?
Constant.
Okay. Confident,
Speed increase.
So acceleration constant means speed dia increasing. So which one is the answer? B. Kenapa, macam mana awak boleh jawab ni? So because you have understood the concept. Ini masih lagi sebenarnya tentang graph, tentang acceleration, tentang velocity. Really about free fall. Tapi free fallnya yang kita tahu ialah any object is falling, it is accelerating. And dalam topik yang sebelum ni, motion, object accelerating means speed increasing. Okay, number 5. A car travels along a straight road. The speed time graph for this journey is shown. During which part labeled of the journey is the resultant force of the car zero. Okay, ni dah masuk topik resultant force. Okay, an object moves at a constant speed for some time, then begins to accelerate. Which distance time graph shows this motion? Okay, ini graph speed, ini graph distance. So nampak tak? Selalunya kita tahu macam ni. Selalunya kita tahu distance begini. Daripada distance, kita dapat graph V. Macam ni. Kan? Alright. Sekarang terbalik. Kita diberi V, macam mana dia punya respective S. Okay. Dia kata, which distance time graph shows this motion? So the object is moving at a constant speed for some time. Mana yang ada constant speed? A. Betul? Nampak macam A. Tapi dia kata sometimes tu bila then begins to accelerate. Accelerate macam mana?
A is not moving.
Salah. Number 5 is number 5. Number 6 is number 6. Sorry. Saya ni. Saya pening. A car travels along straight road. The speed time graph is shown. During which level part is the resultant force on the car zero. Okay. Ini kena belajar tentang resultant force. Kejap lagi kita pergi balik soalan ni. Okay, number 6. An object moves at a constant speed for some time, then begins to accelerate. Which distance time graph shows this motion? So that's easy. Yeah. Cuma yang ini the question is talking about speed tau. Speed. Ini acceleration. So kalau ini graph speed, it should be constant speed, this one. And then accelerate. Accelerate macam mana? Menaik. Betul?
Naik.
Ya. Yeah. Students ramai, kalau soalan ni soalan exam you, ramai akan jawab A. But A is wrong or correct? Correct.
Wrong.
Wrong. Kenapa wrong? Because it's
Not moving.
distance against time graph.
The distance.
Jadi, how do you change ni, Wan? Daripada V ni macam mana dapat dia punya speed, distance graph? Okay. So, ini constant speed. So, how do you draw a constant speed graph for distance? Constant speed maksudnya it is moving tu. Dia moving. What about the distance? Distance dia bertambah tak? When something is moving, distance dia bertambah tak?
Bertambah.
Yes. So, you punya graph mesti macam ni ataupun macam ni ataupun begini. Tapi nak curve ke nak straight line? Tapi dia
Straight
kata
line.
constant speed.
Straight line.
Yes. It's a straight line graph. Sebab kita ada constant velocity. Ada gradient kat sini. Gradient tu yang bagi kita nilai constant velocity. And then begins to accelerate. This one
Lengkung.
melengkung. Melengkung macam mana? Begini ataupun
Macam tu.
Ya, macam tu macam mana? The first one or the second one?
The first.
First?
C. First.
C.
First.
Kenapa C? Okay. Alright, macam ni ya. Jadi, okay, siapa nak explain? Okay, bila kita ada graph S, kena tahu graph begini, gradient dia tinggi, rendah. Tapi kalau kita ada graph S against T macam ni, gradient dia semakin berkurang ke semakin bertambah? Number one, gradient semakin berkurang. Maksudnya velocity berkurang. Ini tinggi, rendah. Number two, velocity increases. Jadi jawapan kita number 6 ni adalah C. Okay. Ui, menguap sambil-sambil. Saya macam, you all ada apa-apa tak petang ni? Boleh tak saya nak postpone lagi 1 jam ni ke petang? Ada apa-apa ke masing-masing? Oh, ada around what time You all okay bila?
Mat.
Oh, ada mat. Kalau malam, malam tak sesuai pula Kalau pukul 8-9, okey tak? Tak sesuai. Tak boleh. Saya, esok pun you all ada kelas ke semua orang? Semua orang ada kelas berbeza esok?
Okay, beza ke esok?
Saya macam ada ni tak boleh nak sambung. Saya hutang you all. Boleh tak nanti saya bagi link dekat Puan Zah? Nanti you all masuk grup WhatsApp tu. Kita bincanglah sesuai bila sekarang ni saya rasa tak okey lah. Boleh tak?
Boleh.
Saya nak minta maaf. Boleh. Macam best kan belajar. Saya faham tapi saya nak minta maaf. Saya nak stop sekejap boleh? Sejam ni. Kita sambung bila-bila. Nanti saya bagi dekat parents yang organize. Nanti kita sambung lagi sejam ni. Sebenarnya banyak lagi lah kan. Ada inertia, ada density, ada force. Tadi baru boleh cakap tentang force tu. Okay, and then Hooke's law. Tu ada pressure sikit, energy, power dan pressure. Okay, nanti saya bagi link. Nanti kita decide bersama lepas ni. Boleh
Boleh.
Semua okey ke? Ada berapa orang dalam ni? Minta maaf semua. 46. Okey. Alright, nanti saya bagi link. Kita jumpa lagi 1 jam lagi. Saya hutang dengan awak 1 jam. Alright. Okay, sorry about that. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Saya off dulu Boleh Sorry. Ada emergency pula. Okay, bye.
Thank you, teacher.
Thank you, teacher.
Thank you, teacher.
Teacher.
Nanti you ingat. Okay.
Teacher.